good, bro.
Oh, that was nice.
That was good. I felt good about that. So you guys didn't come to Little Flowers today?
We didn't. Well, we had to go to Holy Mass
on Facebook.
Everybody was asking me, and I was like, "Look, guys, I don't know where they are." Okay. Well, they RSVP'd. It's like, look, okay,
yeah.
You're like the fourth one to tell me that. Why don't you text him or something?
Look, I don't keep Adam's schedule, okay?
Right. I think they're out of town.
It's so funny. That happens to me, too. Like,
where is he?
Anytime that we're supposed to be in the same...
But the thing is, like, a lot of times I know.
Right. Same
so
here.
It's
yeah.
like, yeah. Oh, okay. Guys, quit asking me that. I mean, I know exactly where he is, but...
Right. Just don't ask me.
Right. Am I my brother's keeper or something? Freaking ridiculous.
Jim, there's no way this is going to be higher on the yummy scale today. There's no way we can continue climbing.
We're on the Lord's team, the winning side. So raise your glass.
Welcome to the Catholic Man Show. We're on the Lord's team, the winning side. So raise your glass. Y'all heard the intro.
Oh.
That's not the glass. There you go. Raise your glass. Welcome to the Catholic Man Show. I'm Adam Minahan here with David Niles. We have Juan
Hello.
on the buttons. El producer. Jim is here as well. The whole team is here. It's good to have everybody. Good to see everybody. Jim, good to see you. We're going to have a scotch. We haven't had a scotch in it, actually. Oh, no, actually, last week we did. It's been like 6 days.
Gosh.
It does seem like, though, we've been having bourbons a lot. So maybe that's...
You know what we haven't done in forever is a beer. Remember when we used to do...
Well, the last one we did was Chainsaw Brewing.
Yeah.
Because they sent us beer.
And then the
Trinity.
Trinitarian Brewing Company,
Trinity.
Trinitine Brewing Company before that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll bet if you go back over the last 6 months, we've only had
a handful of them.
I mean, those might, in fact, it may only be 2 in the last 6 months.
Could be.
We used to do a lot of beer.
Or more beer.
In the beginning.
Yes.
In the beginning, we did a lot of beer.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I'm going to have like a good glass of something, I prefer whiskey.
It's easier to drink on air as well.
Yeah, lower calories also.
I'm not really thinking about that. I'm just thinking like it's easier to drink on air. You don't have to, like, it doesn't fill your stomach up.
That's not the problem for me. See, you and I, we have different problems.
Yeah. So tonight we're going to drink Copper Dog. This is the first time we've ever had Copper Dog. It is a Speyside blended scotch. It has 8 different whiskeys blended together. Copper Dog it's called that because what they used to do was they would take... Boy, you were just struggling over there.
It doesn't pour very well.
What they used to do is the people who used to work in distilleries, they would take copper tubing, and then they would take a penny and solder the penny onto the copper tubing, and then put a cork on the top, and they would siphon off a dram or 2 of whiskey and put it in that copper tube to take home. It's called the Copper Dog.
Sweet.
So that's what it's called.
All right.
So guys who used to work at the distillery used to try to siphon off a little bit.
A little nip.
Yeah.
For the ride home.
But yeah, so Copper Dog, it's a Speyside, like we said. It is 40% ABV. It has 8, I believe. Yes, 8 single malt whiskeys.
The name Copper Dog sounds like a bourbon. Like if you had just told me,
right?
Oh, it's Copper Dog, I would have said, oh, that is a bourbon,
right? Just
based on the name alone.
So let's try it. It's going to be a very typical Speyside whiskey. It's going to have a lot of
/ Highland.
Yeah, it's going to have a lot of sweet fruit notes, honey, things like that. But we're on the Lord's team,
The winning side.
so raise your glass.
Cheers to Jesus.
Cheers. Cheers, Jim. So it's not going to have any of the hard, like, smoke or peat or anything like that. It's also, I think, known for there's some kind of mixed drink cocktail, like a Scotch cocktail that's made with Copper Dog. I don't remember what it's called, but that is a
Okay.
well known, I guess. Jim, what do you think? We've been escalating on the yummy scale for multiple weeks.
When was the last time, like a 4.97 or something?
This is like a 3.5.
Okay. 3.5.
3.5.
What do you think?
I think it's very good. To me, it's not like, oh wow, it's not outstanding.
Okay.
But I have nothing against this.
Floral,
This
very
bottle of
floral,
scotch.
very honeydew
It's got a little
smell.
It's got a little bit more heat on the palate than you know.
I think it's a good scotch
But
for like beginners.
I think it's good.
I think it's good.
It's pretty mellow.
I've got-
It's very good.
$30.
See, for a 30, this is what I'm talking about right here.
$30. $29.95.
Copper Dog sounds like it shouldn't cost very much.
Right.
You know what I mean?
$29.95.
For a $29 for a $30 bottle
a
of
good-
scotch, this is my jam. I'm gonna have to go buy some of this.
Okay.
See.
Boy, how quickly we changed our tune when we found out how much it was.
Well, okay, like the thing is about drinking whiskey is you also have to buy it. Okay, you know it would be great if you didn't have to and you could just drink it, right?
But the thing about it is, that's not the case.
Like, yeah, it's like the thing is, like, I don't live at home with my parents,
Right.
okay, and I do have to buy it, and so there's a utility return, right? For every dollar I invest in a bottle of whiskey, because that's what it is. It's an investment in my future. How many units of goodness am I getting in return, right? And so I want more units per dollar. And this has the units per dollar on this one.
Or is high.
This is a good investment.
Good. Well, I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, me too.
We just
Adam,
We should call
me
it
too.
RO, return on investment. We
Return.
should call it ROI. You think it's gonna catch up?
ROI.
It's not gonna even catch up. It's gonna mustard. Just got back from Southeast Oklahoma. Had a long weekend, which was nice. Boys did some fishing. We did a little four-wheeling. Did a little hiking.
Four-wheeling, huh?
Or I'm sorry, ATV. It's
Okay.
side by side.
Yeah.
Did kayaking, fishing with the kayak. Luke did really
Luke,
well
with his own kayak.
with his own kayak.
Does he keep it down there?
Well, we did. We are now.
Yeah.
We brought it down there. I about lost my salvation putting the daggum thing up on the van. It was been pretty pitiful to be going to hell because putting a kayak up on the van, but I almost got pretty close.
Yeah.
But made it.
Praise God you avoided it.
Right. But yeah, we had a great time. Had a huge bonfire. Probably one of the biggest bonfires I've ever been a part of.
Really?
Yes. In fact, there's trees around it, which was not super close, but it was around it, and it got so hot that those were catching on fire, and they were green. You know, they were live trees.
Yeah.
So we were having to spray it down with
Water it
the
down,
hose. Yeah. But it was so hot.
Has anyone here ever been totally engulfed in fire?
Oh, it's got to be so hot. We had to have a heat shield, like, just to even get close to it to spray.
Uh-huh.
I just thought about, like, man, that would have been so bad to be in hell.
Here's a campfire hack.
Especially by...
So, you know, like when you're in that moment where you're just like, it's so hot you can't even like be by the fire, put on glasses. If you only put on sunglasses, it is amazing the level of heat that you can now withstand simply because your eyes aren't.
This was so hot, dude.
I understand what you're saying.
If my hand was outside of a heat shield, like
Yes.
as I was holding it,
I get what you're saying in that particular
felt like my
fire.
hand was melting to the water.
I'm talking about
faucet.
for like the person, just you're at a regular fire. It happens where it's like, oh God, the
Right.
fire's getting hot. If you have glasses you can put on, it like is so much more comfortable to sit by the fire.
Dude, look at that.
It's a big fire.
It's a pretty big fire.
Did anybody try to jump over it?
No, it was it was like 25, 30 feet in the air.
So
Yeah.
I've also been having big fires. Just been burning brush,
Yeah.
but nothing like that because I don't want to. I don't want the like fire department to show up or
Right.
like. I'm trying to stay under the radar
This
because
definitely
I just
did not
don't want.
do it.
I just don't want attention. And out there,
Yeah, especially like as you're losing cows, and
Right,
Things like that.
exactly.
Like, are you already drawing enough attention to yourself?
you have to have the park employees come over for.
How
another
are they,
reason.
by the way?
Cows are doing great.
Do we have a name for the cows? Yet?
Yes, one of them is Oreo,
Okay.
and one of them is Inky.
Inky. You did say on a past episode that the names are gonna be terrible.
Yeah,
And
Oreo's
not bad.
Oreo's a good name because it's black and white.
Right.
They're both black and white. Oreo has more black and white. She's what you call a black face baldy. So
Okay.
she's black with white on her face. Inky has white, but it's like
Splotches.
under his, like on his neck, kind of. He's also clearly just like a worse looking cow. He's just not Inky, or I'm sorry, Oreo. He's a handsome cow.
Mm-hmm.
Inky is like
Whatever the qualifications are of that.
Well, come over. You can come over and see.
Yeah.
When you look at him, you're like, that is a handsome cow.
Cool.
Nice, sleek coat. Just looks good.
Yeah. We are headed over to Grand Rapids, Michigan,
Yeah.
in like less than a
I'm
month.
excited about that.
That'll be a lot of fun. We're going to have an opportunity to talk about fatherhood and virtue. Those are the two talks we're giving over there. You can go to our social media pages and sign up if you're in the Grand Rapids area. Would love to hang out.
We will be giving a new talk on fatherhood that will probably be the best talk on fatherhood that has ever been given on the
I'm
face
not.
of the planet.
I'm not going to say it,
but people are
but
saying,
people are saying it.
Yeah.
So
I'm not saying it's going to be the best talk ever. I'm
Right.
not saying that it'll absolutely change your life. I'm not saying that you should drop what you're doing to be there.
but people are.
But people are.
Some people are. Yeah. I'm excited about the talk. I've actually been putting a lot of work, a lot of thought into structuring the talk out, and so I'm excited about it.
Me too.
Cool. So what are we going to talk about tonight?
We're going to be talking about guarding your children against romanticism.
Has that ever been talked about
I'm sure it has.
on Catholic radio?
Probably.
But people are saying this will be the first.
The thing about people is that they're liars.
I didn't say it. The church.
The church says it. Listen, you can get mad at me all you want. I'm not the one saying it. The church is saying it.
Except that I'm saying
Yeah.
Man, even before you said it was $30, I was enjoying it.
Yeah, I think
It's-
it's,
oh,
I think it's a great
it's
scotch.
nothing against
It's
it.
a great scotch.
It's not last week's scotch.
No,
No, but
it's not it's not super
No.
complex or anything like
Right.
that. But
Like the hint of
it's
clover.
a great.
I think it has a little hint of clover, a little bit of honey.
Es mucho.
Which-
you know what? To me, it's very bourbon-esque. Like,
I would say it's more Irish whiskey esque
you think so?
Yeah.
than bourbon.
Like,
You-
with the bottle, the name, it's like everything about it is like, this is a bourbon. But I like it. And
But it's
especially,
a scotch.
I especially like
The
the price
price.
tag. They could charge as high as $35 for this bottle, and I'd still buy it.
3.5.
It's not like last week.
No.
What was last week? That was so good.
Jim's like pissed he drove over here right now.
I'm eyeballing it down there right now.
It's gonna be-
Copper dog. You got to tell me what kind of whiskey we're having next week before I drive over here.
Gonna waste my time.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles with Adam Minahan. Juan's going to look at some property tomorrow, Adam.
Oh, nice.
Right next to Harrison Garlic.
Oh, man. That'll be great.
Lifelong dream.
Does Harrison know? Have you told him?
No, not yet. I'll
Don't.
surprise him.
Don't.
Oh, he'll listen to the show and be excited.
Like, just buy it.
We're going to have Deacon Garlic on the show here pretty soon.
I was kind of wondering if we would have him on today, but
no, we didn't get a chance to have him on today, but we're going to have him on soon. We're going to talk about liberalism on the show.
And the liberals.
The liberals. That's not what we're talking about.
Not actually what it is. But.
Right.
So, go ahead. Were you going to say something? You had that look like you were about to finish. Okay. Today, we're going to be talking about romanticism and why you should
have done this if we would have thought about it closer to Valentine's Day. St. Valentine's Day.
Like, look, we do things as they occur to us.
As the Holy Spirit, he tells us to.
We're not
Inspires
Joe
us.
Rogan, okay? The staff and stuff.
We do have Juan.
We do have Juan. That's true. And
he has Jaime, but we have Juan.
You know what? Joe Rogan, he doesn't have Juan.
That's right.
So that's something.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I just wanted to talk about this. It's like one of the topics I've wanted to discuss for a while, and so I thought, you know what I said? I said today's the day.
Tonight's the night. Okay, buckle up.
People
are saying,
as a dad, as a father, it's our job, and probably ours before anybody else's, because we're head of the household, to guard our children's innocence.
mm-hmm.
And as I have gotten better and just had more experience at fathering, I have realized that I am the one in many, many cases who is the avenue by which my children learn things that I wish they didn't learn.
You should stop doing that.
Well, right. Whether I'm having a conversation with another adult and my daughter is in the room,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, and then luckily I have a holy wife who'll elbow me or,
punch you.
not when Mary's in the room, or something. Otherwise, I probably would have just kept going because I'm involved in this conversation,
mm-hmm.
Or I just am playing around and say something or sing something, it's like, I shouldn't have done that. That's not, I just had to, I've realized that often it's myself. We think about these exterior threats that are out in the world, that are out. And I think I've done a very good job at guarding against a lot of those other things.
Mm-hmm.
But very often it's me. I am the problem, right? And so I need to.
That's the thing about sin.
I know, dude. It gets you.
Yeah. You know what? When we had David Williams on, which I love every time we get a chance to talk with David Williams.
He's amazing.
If you haven't listened to our shows with David Williams, just go to CatholicManShow.com, type in David Williams. Several shows will pull up.
And go buy some saint cards while you're at it.
That's right. But he mentioned one time on our show, he said, we should not ruin the view in which our kids have of us.
Yeah. No, what he said was a child has a right to view his father as a hero.
Yes. That's way more eloquent than what I just said. But yeah, and I thought that's a great point. There's nothing good that can come from being like, well, your dad did X, Y, and Z,
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, and just ruin.
Right, because you are a hero. You're born a hero.
Mm-hmm.
Or in the minds of your children, right?
Mm-hmm.
To them, you're a hero,
Mm-hmm.
and you should, and you want them to continue to see that. So you have to live up to it. That's the thing.
Right.
And at some point, they're gonna realize, that you're a human person like everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
like everybody else's dad.
Mm-hmm.
But as you want to keep them innocent for as long as you can. I firmly believe that in sheltering your kids, sometimes you'll hear people say, look, you don't want to shelter them. And I say, yeah, you do. You want to shelter them for as long as possible. And the more sheltered they are,
What do you think they mean by that? Like, do they actually think, when people say that, do they think that you should actually expose your children to evil?
I think that they're worried that they're going to be ignorant about the reality of the world.
No, I think what they're more worried about is that once they get a taste of the world, then they're going to go crazy.
I think that's part of it, but I think that
It seems like that's always seems to be the argument that I hear.
I think that also the other part is that they say, "Oh, your kids are going to grow up totally unprepared for the
real world.
the real world," and I firmly reject that. I think that they'll be more prepared for the real world the more innocent they are.
Well, I mean, then you're living in accord with reality.
Right. That's exactly what I think. And this is really our job as parents. We have to raise them. We have to raise them in the Christian life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like two jobs. It's teach them the faith, and help them to grow up in a healthy environment and where they can maintain that innocence. And there's kind of a sense where whenever you teach a child or a child learns something that's disordered for their state in life, you can't go backwards.
Can't unring a bell.
Right, exactly. You can't unscramble eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you have to make sure to do your best, right? And things are going to happen, right? But I want to talk about specifically romantic notions today.
Okay.
Just because I do think that this is something that often doesn't get talked about as much. We talk about, pornography, we talk about virtue, and a lot of other things. But today I want to specifically talk about romantic. So children, and I've seen this when you're watching children at play. So I was thinking about this today, and children pretend what they know, and they practice what they see. So my daughters, when they're playing, their play is the things that they know, right? Oh, they know mom and dad, and they know, oh, you're the baby, and I'm the mom. Almost always that's what it is. Someone's the baby, or whatever. But they're pretending the things that they know. It's that they're practicing what it means. They're practicing their vocation, right? And when you look at boys, what are they doing? They're fighting each other, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like literally the play of children is preparation for the kind of these God-given abilities and gifts for when they get older. So if they knew more, their play would change, right? If they knew other things. And there's if they're playing mom and dad, that's great, because there's things about mom and dad that they don't know that they shouldn't be playing, okay? And when I was early, when I had just gotten married, used to be a nun here in Tulsa, Mother Miriam. Mm-hmm. I just really love Mother Miriam. And I heard her say something one time that kind of shocked me at first, and I didn't agree with right away. And as I've had kids and have a little bit of experience now, I've come to agree with it more and more. It was that she said, your children can see you hug and kiss, and that's it. That beyond that, they should never see any sign of affection between spouses. That they can see you hugging and kissing, and that's it. And at first I was like, come on, Mother Miriam, because Mother Miriam, she's pretty trad,
she's just firm in her beliefs.
She is firm in her beliefs, which I admire. I appreciate. I admire about her, actually. So that was something that I was like, oh, come on, no big deal. Because what husband doesn't spank his wife when she walks by? You know what I mean? Like, just got to remind her there's a man in the house. All right.
Oh my goodness, we're gonna get so much hate mail.
I mean, I think that's just a normal thing that people do. It's like, and it's an effect. It's affection, right? But if your kids see you doing it, they think that that's okay for them to do, right? It's how does a child, especially a young child, if we're talking like 3 or 4 or 5, they're not going to be able to necessarily distinguish, oh, is that okay? it's okay for mom and dad to do that, but when I play, it's not okay for me to do. Right? And so just the older I've gotten, the more I've seen the wisdom in what she said that day. And this is my own thinking on it, that when it comes to affection between spouses, if it's not the kind of affection you would give your children, then don't give it to your spouse in front of them, right? For them to see. So, hugging, kiss, a kiss. Obviously, we're not talking about heavy kissing. You shouldn't be doing that in front of your kids. But that way they develop healthy, healthy images of what it means to be affectionate between their peers, because that's really what that stage of life is about. It's about developing these healthy relationships with their peers, and the precedent that's going to be set is going to be the one that they see at home. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, it's hard for me to disagree with anything that you said. I think it's also the counter point is also, it's very important that they do see mom and dad.
Yes.
Show affection towards each other. This is why, even I think in our book, Living Beyond Sunday, Making Your Home a Holy Place, one of the things that we point out in there is that it's very important for your children to see, when dad comes home from work, and if mom's coming home from work as well, the first thing that they do, as they come through the front door, is to embrace one another.
Yes.
To welcome one another back home, to show love and affection, and then to recognize the kids. So anyway, when we get back, we'll continue this conversation. We're on the Lord's team,
the winning side.
So raise your glass. Sorry,
I was wondering why you weren't wrapping it up, and then I realized, he can't hear the music.
I can't hear it. Yeah, I pulled my headphones out, so I couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah, that's when then I was like, oh yeah, he didn't know.
I didn't. Yeah, sorry. Well, the last time I had looked, I was like, okay, we still got 3 minutes left. And
right, which goes by fast.
Right. Sorry.
Dave, when you were talking, I was like, in my head, I was like, he's probably talking about spanking his wife. And then you said it, and I was like,
that's what he's talking about.
That's what he's talking about.
All right. Sorry. Well, I'll be able to fix that though in post.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It wasn't too bad. It was. Yeah,
it's no big deal. Even just scooting it over a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. Having a unique conversation, I think, this evening, talking about guarding our children from romantic ideas. This is definitely going to be an episode that we're going to get pushback for, which, by the way, we've received a lot of emails and messages not too long, over the last month or so, and we're just behind in responding to them. So if you've sent something, I apologize for not getting back so far, but we'll do our best. But this is obviously just our experience, and this is just our what we suggest, right?
Yeah.
So this is
absolutely. Yeah. This isn't church teaching,
right?
It's not like you can open your catechism and find rules.
And this is there is in the catechism the 5 duties of parenthood of parents, which you can go check out. I think it's about
another topic we talked about with David Williams. Actually,
that's right. I think it's around 228.
If that's even close to being correct, I'll be impressed.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I believe you.
2228, I think, is close to where it is. Anyway,
I just cannot quote the catechism.
I can't either, really.
The only one I know is whatever year America was founded in, 1774 or something. 70. I don't actually know. I'm a bad citizen. But that is the same number in the catechism where it talks about freedom.
America.
It's because God blessed this country to be the best country on the planet. And if you go to our founding year, you'll find you can look it up. It's freedom. Anyway.
Adam was right. 2228. Parents
That is
respect
amazing.
and affection.
Way to go, bro. But you made a comment right at the last segment, and I'm really glad you made the point. because that's an important thing about how we're talking about, okay, what kind of affection not to show in front of your kids.
Mm-hmm.
But it is vital that your kids know that mom and dad love each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the most important things for your children to know. It really is. Like, if you want to talk about a child growing up with a healthy,
Stable environment.
exactly, and just like, because if mom and dad don't love each other, then they ultimately reflect that back on themselves, and they think, maybe I'm not lovable, maybe it's me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want your child to be healthy emotionally, like have a healthy intellect, a healthy imagination, and like an all-around healthy child, he needs to know that mom and dad love each other.
I agree. So what do you think the downfall is? Let's say that there's somebody out there who does not do a good job of tempering their actions around children, and aren't prudently making their decisions in front of their children.
Yeah.
What do you think the downfall? What do you think the side effect? Like,
Yeah.
what's
It's a
the
good question.
downside?
I think that they will do damage to their child's imagination.
Okay.
That's what I think, because children are that's like kind of what they're doing full time, is just thinking and wondering and imagining, right? Almost constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And so now there are just certain things that they're not ready to think about, that their intellect isn't ready for, right? Because they need to do other things first. They need to have more wonder about the world in general, about right and wrong, about these things. And children, once again, they're developing interpersonal skills. Okay, until you have those skills, how are you supposed to wield like romantic affection, which is a powerful thing? You need to have an understanding of how to have just a basic friendship before you should have to deal with the extra heavier things that go along with a romantic friendship, right? And so I think that if these ideas, if these notions are given to children at too young of an age, then it's going to do harm to their imagination, because now they're going to start wondering and imagining about these things. And if it happens, it's not the end of the world. Like if something happens, and your kids get exposed, it's not like, oh, your kids are ruined at all. I mean, you can talk about it, and that's, I think, the best thing to do is if it's okay to talk about these things if they happen and they come up, right? And everything will be fine. Just tell your kids, hey, we can talk about that when you're older, but blah 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 blah. You're the parents, you decide what to say. But that's what I think the harm is, and that's why I think we should be taking steps to make sure that we don't go there. And I kind of think about my own childhood. My parents did a great job as parents. But I think that there's also like a higher level of awareness now, whereas in the past you could kind of rely on the culture and like rely on everybody to just kind of do what was right for your kids, for kids in general. And you can't do that anymore. And so I think now, with that higher level of scrutiny, we can kind of go back, like the movie Little Mermaid. It's like, you're trying to tell me that's not like a sexualized, like, Disney character. You know what I mean? Or princess movies in general are hyper romanticized. These are movies made for like 5-year-old girls, all about trying to find like true love and a first kiss or whatever, right? And it's just that's not and shouldn't be the theme of what they are exposed to. Is it okay for them to have love in a movie? Sure. Absolutely. But should the whole theme of the movie be around like getting, like my first kiss or something like that? No. I mean, if this is a movie made for 5-year-old girls, then it shouldn't be about that. Okay. That to me is promoting an agenda. And so in our house, we don't watch those movies, and there's a lot of other movies you can watch, and there's a lot of outside to be had also. So, and outside is great.
Right. Yeah, I mean, so if we're going to talk about topics here tonight, let's get all the hot topics off, so that way we can receive all the hate emails in one fell swoop instead of over weeks.
Okay. Here's another one.
Well, hold on. Let me throw one at you.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. I am very anti the boyfriend girlfriend as when they're young.
That's literally what I was gonna say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how much
It drives me crazy.
it drives me crazy. And like, listen, we live in a pornified culture. This is just the reality of it. Like, we sexualize everything, and I understand. Like, you can take it to an extreme. It can be cute, but whatever.
Yeah.
But what you're teaching your children, like, so again,
you hear a parent say, "Oh, is that your girlfriend?"
and it's like, now,
Like, why would you say that to him?
somebody has said that to my son, one of my sons, and I witnessed. I sat there and watched him stop, and like, you could see him like trying to process and internalize. Like, well, wait a minute, what does that mean?
Right, and you can see the moment where then they look over at the girl, this
Right.
innocent poor little girl next to, and it's like, I've never thought about, and
This.
all of a sudden, boom, things can never go back. I mean, they can go back to being, but all of a sudden, the dynamic has changed between this boy and this girl because this adult said something,
To try to be cute. And
implanted this idea,
and it wasn't like
they're not trying to be malicious about it. I
Right.
totally get that, but that's why I want to talk about it,
right.
because it, like, people do it and they're not aware of it. Okay, I mean, they don't
Right.
realize that. Hey, maybe maybe I shouldn't say that.
Right.
It-
Yeah, because
Maybe I shouldn't be talking about boyfriend and girlfriends with toddlers
right.
or 5-year-olds or 9-year-olds or whatever.
or 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
So here's another and again, my oldest is 9, right? He's gonna be 10 this year, in like 2 months. It's really weird. So we're not in the puberty game yet, and I can't imagine myself changing my mind, but I don't have the experience yet of this. But in talking with our bishop and the other podcast that I'm on, Tulsa Time with Bishop
The other
Gondola,
podcast.
he has gone through over the last about 6 weeks what dating is, what courting is, what marriage should be, what marriage is not, how to choose your vocation, like how to discern your vocation, how to choose the right spouse if you're going to get married. And he makes this, I totally agree with him. He makes this claim, like, you should not be dating. The thing is, dating is preparing yourself for marriage, is finding somebody to get married to.
Mm-hmm.
You should not be dating unless you're ready to get married.
I totally agree. When I was in high school, I totally disagreed.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I mean, obviously.
Right.
'cause
Right.
I had a girlfriend.
Right. But dating is for marriage. The end of dating should be marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And so Bishop Condo says, in the podcast, he said that it's fine if you go on dates, so to speak, as a high school student, right? You go on a coffee date in the afternoon, but it shouldn't be something where you are dating one person exclusively.
Yeah.
Because now you're entering into this relationship that's
There should be nothing romantic about it.
monogamous, and then it's like, well, but the end of this is not marriage. So you're setting yourself up for outs in relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and then
the
also
end should be friendship, and that's it. You
Right.
know? Yeah. So, like, because the pushback is, well, we want them to practice dating, so they have some experience. That way, when they get to college, they kind of know, like, how to date, what they're looking for.
they don't need that.
No, I also completely reject that. I think it's just a stupid argument.
I don't think that. I think that's a modern thing. That I think if you would have said that 100 years ago, I don't think anybody would have understood what you're talking
Right,
about.
what do you mean practice dating? It's
Right.
like
Like
you-
no one.
100 years ago, they'd be like, you are a good man. She is a good woman.
They all had that.
They all had an accent. 100 years ago, so
What accent was that?
That's just Fiddler in the Roof, right?
it is actually a line from Fiddler on the Roof. So I don't know if Jewish is the right word. It's the answer to your question, what kind of accent, but that's the accent he has. You are a good man. He is a good woman. Or backwards. Anyway,
Oh, we are gonna get. This may not have to. Maybe we can't put this on Catholic radio. I don't know. Maybe we don't put Catholic radio on this episode. But yeah, so I just think that the end of dating should be marriage, and so I don't think we should be promoting dating unless we're ready to be married.
totally. Let's talk about that more on the other side of the break.
Okay.
just do it one.
You're not gonna drink that?
Put a little more in there.
Put a little more.
All right.
You have like a full glass.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles here with Adam Minahan. We're talking about problems with romantic precedents, notions, ideas, practices. But
Yeah, so before the break, we were talking about like the end of dating should be marriage.
yeah,
And so the idea of dating practice to date is
I
just
think that's dumb.
it's just not a healthy thing, because again, you're entering into this fake monogamous relationship that doesn't end in marriage, and only opens up temptations to both parties.
I think that's right. What people really need more practice at is friendship.
We're a lonely culture. We're a
Right.
lonely society. We don't know
Because
how to make friends. So
like we live in such a hypersexualized world that strictly, friendship is actually, that's the thing that we don't have a whole lot of. And if you can't develop friendships, then how are you supposed to find a good spouse? You know what I mean? That is going to be the element that. So I think in high school and in college, if you're not ready to date, then you should spend if you're not ready to get married,
right.
Then your time should be spent either in groups with other people, co-ed groups, or it's fine. If there's a member, like a boy or girl that you just want to be friends with, you should be clear about your
Intentions.
hey, I'm not ready to get married, but I'd like to be friends with you, and your time together needs to be spent strictly in non-romantic settings during the day, in public.
Right. Which is why Bishop suggests
that's it.
go get a coffee in the afternoon, or whatever you want to do.
And I get that sounds like an antiquated, old-fashioned idea. And you know what?
Oh yeah.
I think it is. And I like it.
Right.
And it's like, because what is there to gain from putting you're just going to add like risk and pressure to this? If you're just trying to develop a friendship because you're not ready to get married, you're not ready to date because you're not ready to get married, then why would you put yourself in a romantic situation with this person that you might be interested in, right? Because you want to develop a friendship, and maybe that friendship down the line will turn into a romantic relationship, but if it's not now, then it better not be not now, right? I mean, don't let it be now. That's the thing. And the only way to stop that, you think like, oh, when the lights are low, that you'll have the strength in that moment.
Right.
It's like, give me a break, okay? Right. You just don't go. That's the only shot you've got. At least in my experience, that's the way it works.
Right.
I do have a question though, and to bring it maybe back a few years younger, and maybe back to the core of the show, is like, for example, the other day my son Santiago was talking about his girlfriend Emily, whatever, and I found myself like, well, she's your friend who is a girl, kind of like trying to correct the language.
Yeah.
But then I noticed that me even trying to make a distinction was confusing him. Like, he didn't mean anything by it. He just called it her girlfriend.
Did he just mean that my friend who's a girl?
Yeah, but she just called her girlfriend. And that I realized that I was the one making the confusion in him. So I just kind of like just walked it back. So is that something that distinction between girlfriend or like having
I think
girlfriends?
you just say it's your friend.
Well,
I
I think I may have asked, because if he was talking about a friend who is a boy, he wouldn't probably have called him, oh, my boyfriend. So I think he is, whether he knows it or not, he's making a distinction that maybe he's heard somewhere. And so I maybe would have asked him, why? Why'd you call her your girlfriend? What's that mean to you? And then, he's not gonna. He shouldn't be in trouble.
Yeah.
For any something like this, because it's not his fault that he's heard some stuff somewhere along, and then that just gives you an opportunity to have a conversation.
Okay.
And then, because as the parent, and this is so hard for me. It's like one of the things that I think I worry about, whether I should be worried about it or not, is that I want to be the one that my kids, I want my children to feel comfortable coming to me for, like with these kinds of things, or like with questions. My daughter just turned 8 this week. It's like we're not there yet either, but it's imminent, right? In the course of life, as fast as life is moving, I want to be thinking about these things because I just know, like, I tend to be I'm a disciplinarian in the house, right? Which I feel like doesn't necessarily lend itself to like, hey, Dad, let me open up to about everything. Here's the things that I think I might be in trouble for.
Right.
Let me talk to you about them, because she wouldn't be in trouble for, you know what I mean? So it's just.
But see, you do a great job about cultivating those times to give them to open up, right? So every week you have adoration, then you go take one of your girls, you take one of your girls with you to adoration, and then you go have dinner with them. Like, that is an opportunity
Not
for
every
them.
week, but, we do it regularly, yeah.
Right. Well, you cycle through your children. But that provides them with an opportunity to talk to you.
You're right. That one-on-one time makes a huge difference. Like, my daughter, Elizabeth, all I have to do is drive somewhere with her. And then all of a sudden, like, when it's just one-on-one with us in the car, she'll start, all of a sudden, like, these questions. Dad, what's this? And, like, so she'll bring up something that she heard a few days ago, or, and, like, it's great. I love that. It's like, so I know that really works for her. My other, and that could be also her age. I don't know. But, I just want them to have a healthy understanding of what it means to be a girl.
How are you gonna handle it? Like, when she wants, so, you and I both, we have 5. You have 5 children. I have 5 children.
Yeah.
Inevitably, one has 5 children, and inevitably, like, one of our children is going to want to date at an earlier age than what we were ready for them to date. Like, how are you going to handle that?
Well, I would ask them, why do you want to go on a date? Well, I like them. Okay, that's great. And that's, that's wonderful. And I think that they're a likable person. Tell me what you like about them. Let's talk about that. Like, let's talk about virtues versus vices, because their desire for that other person is good. God gave it to them, right? And so I want to affirm that, but then talk about, okay, I'm so glad, like, this is wonderful, this is a new thing for you, blah, 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 all that the whole talk. And then talk about, like, well, dating is for this.
This is the exact advice
and you're not ready for that.
That Father Bochansky told us whenever he talks to people who are in same-sex who are same-sex attracted in a relationship. The first thing he asks them was, oh,
tell me about them. Yeah, that's right. Them. Yeah. Like, tell me about them.
What do you like? What do you like about them?
How'd you meet? Like, what do you like? Yeah. Exactly.
And then, like, he talks about, like, he enforces, like, hey, this is a good thing, like, because the things that you like about him you're drawn to, that they can be good things, right? Oh, well, I'm drawn that he's very caring. He's a very caring person. But then that gives you the opportunity to talk about, well, what's virtue, what is vice. It opens the door to being able to have an open discussion.
Yeah, and once again, I think that even talking about dating, you can do that with your kids, and that's not a romantic thing. Okay.
Well, at some point it will be.
Well, okay, like
at some point when
my kids, we have cousins who are they'll bring their boyfriend over, and so, like, they know about dating, and they know that these people, they're discerning, they're dating to see if they want to get married, and they know about that, and they know about being married because they live in a family with parents who are married, and so that actually isn't romantic. What I'm talking about, the things that we want to guard them against are, the sexualized element of the relationship, that is inherently a private thing, right? Like, sexualized elements in relationships are always private. They should never be shared. because it's a private matter. It's sacred, okay? It's sacred for the couple, and it's sacred for marriage. And so it should never be shared with anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And the details of your own private relationship should stay private because of the sacredness, the sacred nature of that relationship. And so that's really the thing. So you can actually talk about dating at a young age, and we have. So, I mean, our kids know. So we have actually also talked about dating is so you get married. We have cousins who are dating. My sister, my youngest sister, she's 14 years younger than me. She has a boyfriend, a new boyfriend she's dating. And so like they see it. And at least in our family, that's not an uncommon thing for them.
But
to
most
witness.
Families are that is
maybe.
uncommon.
I mean, yeah, but it doesn't have to be. So there's the problem. The thing is, what I'm saying is that dating, that's not something that you need to hide from your kids. That's a normal thing at a certain age. And it's always, you can say like, well, see, those people are ready to get married. That's why they're dating.
Mm-hmm.
They're discerning marriage. And that's kind of, at least when your kids are young, that's good enough. Like, oh,
right.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Great. And so having those conversations at those young ages, I think will be helpful. As they get older, they know dating is, when you're ready to get married, then you date. And that's what it is. It's not like, oh, I like somebody, and so I'm going to put myself in this high-pressure relationship where I can't do the thing that I want to do, and like almost like, why am I here anyway? Like, what are we doing? Dating before you're ready to get married is actually just completely nonsensical. Unless you just want to commit mortal sin, like,
Right. No, I agree. I mean, yeah. So, go check us out on the podcast, thecatholicmanshow.com. We'll continue this conversation. We're on the Lord's team.
the winning side.
So raise your glass.
And cheers to Jesus.
Cheers. Yes. So I don't disagree. I don't think, though, you answered my question.
Okay. Ask it again. Run it by me one more time.
Yeah. So
I second that.
so your child knows what dating is,
Okay.
but says no. I want to date.
Oh, okay. Maybe I implied my answer to your question. So I would talk about, why do you want to date them, blah, 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 blah. And then after they tell me why, I like him, it's like, I want to affirm those things. What I want to do is draw a distinction between the good of their desire and the reason I'm going to say no to their desire, okay? I want to affirm the things, because they're probably going to bring to the table things that are good.
And hormones.
Well, right. But you can't talk about those. That doesn't go well, okay? So what I want to do is affirm the things that they're bringing to the table.
Okay.
While drawing a distinction, because they're conflating their desires for the person with the desire for a permanent state in life. Okay? Which that's all young people, they're impetuous,
Mm-hmm.
They think that the way I feel right now is this is life. And if,
Right.
if I can't have this person, I'll die.
Right.
So I would want to say, let's affirm these things about people. You have these desires. God gave you them. They're good. However, you're 15. He's 16, however old. He doesn't have a job. He can't support you. You're not ready to get married. I'm your dad. And no. So the answer is going to be no. You can't date them because dating is for marriage.
Mm-hmm.
You're not ready for marriage.
Right.
Now, I have no idea. I've never had an 18-year-old daughter.
You will.
I will someday. If she's 18 and I feel like that she's ready for marriage and she's taken this seriously,
At what age? I'm sorry.
I said 18. I mean,
okay.
I cannot imagine saying yes at 18. Okay, I mean, I'm just trying to throw out like, a crazy scenario. Okay,
Sure.
definitely not going to be yes before then. But is it possible that I would say yes? I suppose it is. If the stars aligned I had a dream. Like Angel Gabriel came to me in a dream. Theoretically, it could be a yes.
If I have a dream, though.
Well, Juan, I'm sorry. You do have prophetic dreams, but that's not good enough for me. I don't think in this case. Let me just tell you, it's a high bar. It's a really high bar. He's got to have like the guy she's presenting is with probably has to have like, I don't know, discerned out of seminary, like is independently wealthy, and I don't even know. I can't even imagine.
What about getting married in college?
I personally think there's no reason.
I have no problem.
There's no problem getting married in college. I don't actually know why people say, "Oh, I want to finish my degree first," and so then they like live together instead. It's like, wait,
but
what?
Your argument just now was that he didn't have a job and couldn't provide.
Okay, well, I'm
so
just saying,
if
like,
they're in a career, then they're going to have a job either. They're going to be pursuing.
well,
a career.
right, yeah, but like if we're talking about her getting married at 18, like the dude who's coming. I mean, maybe he's 24 and has a job. Okay, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Juan, it's a hypothetical scenario. I'm going to say no, unless of course I have a dream and Saint Gabriel tells me otherwise. But it is the reason I brought that up is that it's theoretically possible.
Okay.
That I might say yes at 18, right? Elizabeth, Mary, Bernadette, Susanna, if you're listening to this like years down the road and you're 18, good luck. It's probably not going to happen.
I wish you will.
Exactly.
I do have a great story.
But Juan, to your point is, maybe a deviate variation of your point is, I do think people wait way too long to get married.
Yeah.
Yeah, marry young and have a bunch of kids.
Yeah. That's what I think.
That's what I think is a. I think that's good advice.
Yeah, like don't you want life to be an adventure? Like I'm not saying it won't be an adventure if you don't have a lot of kids, but having a lot of kids is certainly an adventure, and it's one that you're not going to regret.
Sure.
In your life.
Yeah. So my story harkens to the distinction between like innocence and romanticism.
Okay.
So Santiago, maybe he was like 5, about to turn 6, and he was at this party in a park, and it was him and like 4 girls of all of our groups, and they're in this playground, and one of the girls, hey Santi, let's play daddy and mommy, and another girl goes, okay, but I get to be married to Santi next. And then the third one goes, yeah, but I'm going to be married next.
Mm-hmm.
And the next one goes, okay. And Santiago, before the girl finishes the sentence, he goes, no. Nobody's married. We are all monkeys. We're a big monkey family. Well, nobody's married, and we're just going to jump around. He was just not having it.
Yeah. And then, I think it's hilarious. Like, that's a perfect example of boys and girls, like the way they play. Like, let's all be married. It's like, how about we're animals?
Yeah. Just want to get myself out of this situation. It just broke my arm.
Right.
Jumping off this jungle gym just to
like the girls, they want to like sit down and talk, like have all this talk, and the boys like, how about we just make noises and jump? Yeah, but I also think that like there are some cultures like. Well, one like South American culture, I think you've kind of mentioned this to me before, that there's like a romanticism is like part of the culture, right? Like the men are kind of expected to be, or like I don't know if Italians are this way.
Well, I think not so much romanticism, but maybe more affection. It's like you tend to be more affectionate in general with a lot of women, right? And that's just how you're expected to show care or show affection to anybody that's special to you, right? Like kissing a cheek or a hug or walking somebody to somewhere or even giving flowers. Like when you get a certain level of closeness in friendship, it's almost like expected. What's hard though is that
and I think all of those things are fine things,
but it just doesn't translate well sometimes.
Yeah, maybe not. Well, what I was gonna say is like I have seen this in other men, like where there's a notion where they have their young boys and they like kind of want them to be like I don't know, suave or like lady killers when they're like 5 or 6 years old. You know what I mean? And like that's the exact kind of thing we have to avoid, right? Because like that's just not the kind of things. Those are not the ideas we should be planting.
Yeah, you should be wanting to guard your son's purity with the same fervor as you want to guard your daughter's purity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's always the case. With fathers, they're not as concerned about the son's purity
Sure.
as they are about their daughter's purity.
There is a difference between the way I view my daughters versus the way I view my son. And it's just like I don't know why there is a difference, but it's not that I want purity for them more than him. It's hard to say where that difference comes from in my own self.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, absolutely. We want holiness. We want purity. We want chastity. We want all of these things for our children. It doesn't matter, boys or girls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that.
I think that what are the difference is that when I send my son into the world, I know that he will be the one. He will, if something happens, he will, to affect his purity, very likely, he will be the initiator of that. Whereas with my daughters, it's possible that it's initiated on them, right? And that because of that, I seek to guard them more, because maybe it's not them who's choosing it. Chicken or the egg.
Yeah.
Well, but you see the difference. There's a difference between, hey, my son went out and made a bad choice, versus someone else made a bad choice and forced it. Like I'm not saying don't take this too far the wrong way, but like if the man is going to initiate it, okay, probably the woman is also receptive to this idea, but I don't want things being initiated on my daughters. That's ultimately what it comes down to. You see what I'm saying? Like there's an inherent difference.
No, yeah,
there.
I see what to your point, Dave, that you have more control about you have less control when you have a daughter of what's going to be initiated upon her.
Right. If I raise virtuous children,
there's too many options, there's too many distinctions out there. But if you have a boy that has seen you, that you know what he's more likely to initiate,
right,
versus like you just don't know what your daughter is going to be exposed to.
If I send out virtuous children, virtuous boys, virtuous girls, basically nothing will happen to my virtuous boys, because what's going to happen to them now? Other people might try to take advantage of my virtuous girls in a way that you just can't do to a boy. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not talking about like 13-year-old kids. I'm talking about, like grown children who are going out to the world. You just can't do anything like that to a man, basically, if he's not willing. It just doesn't work. You don't seem to be agreeing with me.
I think I agree in principle.
Okay. Your face is saying otherwise.
No, I mean, it's not something I'm interested in discussing on the show. But
right. Well, that's what I was just saying.
I think in principle, I agree with you.
To me, there's an inherent difference. The way I think I view my daughters versus my son, and I'm just kind of like exploring maybe why that is. It doesn't matter, because ultimately your point is true, that the innocence of our children should be guarded no matter what.
Right.
And so, just to circle back to the beginning, I have found that it's me very often the problem with, like the reason there are cracks in the wall, things are getting through that I don't want to get through. I just have to be honest that very often it's me. I'm the reason. I'm letting them through. I'm letting them in. I just have to like.
Yeah. No, I think that
I have to be honest and like do good self-assessment that whatever it is, It's my job, whether it's me or not, whether
Mhm.
it's the outside world or whether it's other things. It's still my job to do it. And like, I just, I'm gonna have to tighten down the screws. Luckily, I have a fantastic wife
Sure, yeah. I mean, and that,
who's a great help.
yeah. I mean, a holy marriage really helps, right? In the process. Yeah.
So think about it, especially if you have young kids.
Mhm.
Just like the movies you watch, I think are a really big one. At the end of the day, they might love that movie, but you can find it. There are new movies. All of these things, like there are things.
Isn't it interesting that most of the time it's coming through entertainment, like
that is
mediums?
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
like ours and theirs. You
Right.
know,
Right. Both.
there is something.
And music too.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
that's
that's
entertainment.
entertainment.
Yeah, but it's like we think because music is not so visual,
It's not visual. Yeah.
they're gonna be not much. They're not gonna get it. But boy, do they get those words.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, and you didn't even know the song said that. You know,
It's
like-
so frustrating because my kids are listening to country music. Like
Which is not good anymore.
it's not good anymore at all.
In the
It's
last,
pop.
like- in
It's
the
not even
last,
country. It's
like,
pop.
10 years, it's just gotten terrible.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, well, we can't do that. Like, can't listen to this. Can't listen to it's just it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really interesting. There's something about the entertainment that is so like I might have been willing to make sacrifices in all these other aspects of my life. Okay? The things I spend money on or, whatever else. But then all of a sudden it comes down to my choices of entertainment and those are so hard to give on,
Mhm.
right? Like I want to still watch the movie that I want to watch.
Right.
And there's just something about those things.
Dadgum concupiscence.
Right. Yeah. That's like, why is it so much harder to give these things up than it is? It's like, oh, I might have been fasting all day, but then it comes time to like, oh, you could watch this movie or like a better movie. It's like, oh, I don't want to watch that other better, what is actually a better movie. Because like, oh, that's just not as cool. I want to watch. I don't know why that is,
It's weird.
but it's part of the problem,
But Dave, to that point though, I think that often we undersell our power over the entertainment that our kids watch.
Yeah.
It's like they want to say, "Oh, I want to watch this and that because I heard it," and it's like, "No, we're gonna watch this other thing," and you're gonna say, "Oh no, I don't want to watch it," and then you say, "Well,
You don't have to.
Yeah.
you don't have to.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna go watch it in the couch. You can come with me, or you can do something else."
Right. It's like, okay, we don't have to watch it because I think it's dumb anyway. But
Yeah, and then you just go do that.
I'm
thing.
tired of watching Brother Francis personally. Like,
Yeah.
I think he's great for you guys.
Okay, so the takeaway is to make sure that we are being an example towards towards our kids, not showing too much affection that would corrupt their own imagination.
I think it's just, hey, think about it.
and think
because
about-
your kids don't need romance.
And then think about what the purpose of dating is,
Mm-hmm.
and when should you allow your children to date, and for what reason
Yeah.
would that be?
And I think that there's probably a lot of parents out there, I know there are, who's in that stage of life where their kids want to date. And maybe, you saying no could be the thing that just like alters their life for the better. Like they might hate you for it right now. But the mistakes that could be made, that hopefully wouldn't, but could be, they don't go away, So think about it. Pray about it.
Send Dave emails.
You're more than welcome to send me emails. Feel free.